Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to the 53rd edition of the Community Pulse. We start a brand new year and we kick it off with the man that I consider starting these communities, and that's Pete Johns, co hosting Thomas Christ. That show opener for tonight's show came from Ed B. Metal. That was Ed's contribution to uh, music for life. Correct. The title of the song is "Face the Day." This initiative, Folk Punk's idea was to continue playing a song from every song from the two volumes every week up until the album is released, and that's what we plan on doing. And this is a really good cause. I've already spoken to a few people who are working really hard at putting together some songs. Jade, she mentioned that I think they had a 16 or 17 submissions already. So it's looking really good. Don't stop there. I've got one for sure coming in with the boys. And then, I know there's a few others and I won't spoil it for them. But please, to those of you who haven't yet, submit your song and let's support this amazing cause. Whether it's if you can't do it musically, if you've got a few bucks, we can do it that way as well. So we open the show with the what I consider to be the notable streaming music streaming channels, and kind of selfish because these are the channels that have helped my channel grow, and I know I speak for many of you out there as well. Jade Star, she does an amazing job with the live interviews every Thursday at 5 p.m. I still remember the first time being on her show as if it were yesterday. Um, Independent Many United every Friday at 8 p.m. She has an amazing show going. 15th Bend, the indie music roller coaster every Thursday at 9:30 p.m. I think 15th Bend is taking a little break right now. He won't be back for a few weeks. Chad Freeman, Ham Sunday on Sunday, every Sunday at 11 p.m. He'll be streaming our music. He's also started his show Saturdays. I think it's 3 or 4 p.m. Sorry, Chad, you can DJ. I'm sure we'll post the links there too. Francis and Ian, the replay. Apparently, this show was on well before I came into the community. A great show, and those are two amazing personalities in our community. Every other Sunday at 8 p.m. Thomas Christ, you rock every Sunday at 6 p.m. Our featured artist tonight. He's just an incredible individual. Thomas was one of the first to reach out to me when I went on to Pete's. Yes, I'm doing it again, Pete. Episode number 83. And then we have, with Thomas Christ, all you have to do is go to follow that link, fill out the form, and submit, and you'll be played, whether it's the week that you submitted or the following week, but you will definitely be played. Pete Johns, your music live every Sunday at 6 p.m. We've switched over now to 6 p.m. every Sunday. Same deal, fill out the form and hit submit. And I'm telling you all, if you're watching on replay and if you haven't already submitted music to these channels, your channel will grow, and more importantly, your music will be heard. And then we have my sister, my cousin, Lori's Mishmash, every Friday night. She calls it the Friday Night Hang. And it's another fantastic show similar to this, where she brings the community together and they get up to no good, all of them. So our featured channel for the week is Dynamite Throw. Like, I met Dynamite Throw along with Scary Garcia on Thomas's show not long ago. Absolutely fell in love with the style that he has brought. It's just an incredible bassist, and it just goes to show the talent in these communities that we have. Um, Dynamite has been around, I'm going to say, for about 6 months now since I've met him. And I'm glad I did. We made him the featured channel tonight. JJ was a big influence in that. I know JJ is a huge fan, and I put together this little montage, and throughout the whole show, Dynamite Throws link is posted at the top of the chat. Please go offer up some support to some of these artists. You're gonna like what you hear. Let me just play it. You like that dynamite stick? I just had to. That is, I saw the chat lit up. I mean, isn't that incredible? Yeah, you'll get a lot more of that tomorrow night, on Wednesday night on Thomas's show. And I'm going to bring on our co-host, Pete Johns. And I promised myself tonight, Pete, that I wasn't going to talk like a hockey player. And I'm trying to be conscious about how many times I say,
It is all good. It's a pleasure to be here. And yeah, Dynamite Throw, what an amazing musician, bass player, creator. Yeah, I've had a chats back and forth with Dynamite Throw, the person behind the name Dynamite Throw, and really humble, really respectful, asked really intelligent questions when they were sort of starting out in GarageBand and creating songs. And yeah, just one of those artists that just makes you so motivated because they just go from strength to strength and keep getting better somehow.
yeah. And I did forget to mention that his email indicated that it was you and Thomas that has helped him grow. And it's just, it's an incredible honor to be on the show, that to be featured as the featured channel on the show that you are both on. So I should have
Absolutely.
copied the email and posted it, but it was
I,
really
I
nice.
It is fine. I need I need no acknowledgement. I
No,
just love the
no, I
fact
know
that
that.
that folks are getting stuff done and get out there. But yeah, Dynamite Throw. I follow them on slaps.com. They're really big over there. And yeah, just amazing stuff. And some of the collaborations and just too funky, like I mentioned there. I think questioning the legality of the level of funk that they bring to some of those tracks.
I love it. I love it. So, Pete, back to back. Pete Johns on the
Yes.
show. I love it.
I know. Not jokingly, but I just in passing mentioned to Frank on a separate show a few weeks back, and I said, "Oh, Frank, anytime you need a co-host, I'm usually free. Especially now, in a couple of weeks' time, our shows overlap again, and then I'm probably not. So it's perfect timing." And when you said, "Hey, yeah, we got this featured artist, this guy you might have heard of called Thomas Christ," I'm like, "Oh, I get to grill Thomas Christ and help ask all the tough questions about him and his music and his 19 albums and his ridiculous levels of creation that I know many people are, if not jealous, at least very envious of how much music Thomas puts out there to the world.
And it's all so great. Yeah. Um, we we've got a song here, and it's got to be one of the funnest songs you've ever done. And it was Songtember 2022, my first Songtember, and it was still COVID at the time, where I was able to watch your shows throughout the day and whatnot, and watch you create this show by show. It was just amazing. Um, and let's give it a spin. Why don't you tell us about this song, Grown?
Yeah, so this is from, as you say, Songtember. And for folks that I know most people here know me and know what I do, but I run a channel here on YouTube called Studio Live Today. And every September, we do a challenge that we call Songtember. We've done 5 years in a row, or year 6 coming up this year. And it's a song in a month challenge. So I create a song, and as you mentioned there, I document every step of the process, like right from, okay, what's the hook, to let's write some lyrics, to let's write the melody, and let's record it, let's do the demo, let's mix it, master it, release it, and in this case, do a music video as well at the end. So, yeah, it's a great time, and I encourage everyone, if you're creating music or if you're not creating and you want to get back into the creative spirit, yeah, check out previous year's Songtembers because we've had a blast doing them, and it is only, what did I work out the other day? Less than 6 months away till September again because the time is
Yeah,
flying by. So this one was from 2022, as you mentioned. We were still sort of coming out the other side after many folks being in lockdown, and this song is really about the fact that as much as I didn't like a lot of the things that went on during that time, just being able to be at home and not be out late at night, and not be out doing things, and just enjoy my family and enjoy my own company a bit. It kind of made me go, yeah, I am a grown ass man, and I like being home. So this is my tribute to all those folks that are out and about, and you're just like, I'd really just like to be curled up in a comfy blanket on my couch with a cup of cocoa right about now.
that's awesome. All right, let's hit play. And I had Amy's um, posted here because I would really love to see you, Amy, submit some music to Pete Johns and Thomas Christ. I think you're an amazing addition to this community, and I appreciate all that you do. And we'll talk about the premiere we've got tomorrow. All right.
Very cool.
Grown.
Never one for going hard. Never had a fear of missing out. Never happy in a crowd. And I know I'm not the only one. I'm a grown ass man. Please take me home. I've done all that I can. Please take me home. Never had to see the lights. Never had an urge for starting fights. Kinda happy on my own. And I know I'm surely not alone. 'Cause I just don't have a plan. Please take me home. I've had all I can stand. Please take me. So I'll quietly creep up the back stairs and you won't hear a sound. You'll awake and wonder what the time is. It's only 10 p.m. I'm a grown-ass man. Please take me home. I've done all that I can. Please take me home. I just don't have a plan. Please take me home. And I've had all I can stand. Please take me.
Wow. How great is that? Let's do that. Absolutely
Yeah.
amazing. Love that
So,
track.
a lot of fun. And Folk Punk there just asked the question, was I actually singing out loud? No, I was mouthing the words because I was out in public. So, yeah, in the earpiece you saw me wear there, I had the song playing at quarter speed and I was mouthing along. So I kind of probably looked super weird to anyone in Adelaide on that particular day, wandering around, miming to myself. So that's a lot of fun. Yeah, you got to try things and experiment with things and have fun with music. And that's why when you said, "Hey, which song would you like me to play?" I'm like, I reckon that's the funnest song that could give us a bit of an up tempo mood to welcome in our wonderful guest today, Thomas Christ. Yeah.
All right. And on that note, let's welcome in our wonderful featured artist, Thomas Christ. Put you right in the middle.
Whoop. Yeah. Which way do I look? There you go.
Oh,
Hey,
I
Tom.
should unmute my guest because that's only the nice. That's the nice thing to do.
Hey
Thomas.
everyone. Hey Frank. Hey Pete.
Great to have you.
Yeah, it's great to be on here.
Yeah, you were on the show. I don't know, somewhere in the close to the beginning, around the 20th episode or something, as the featured
Yeah, I was
co-host.
on with Scapular Winging Records.
Yeah, and once I heard your album, I thought, man, I gotta get Thomas onto this show. It was just such
Thank
an
you.
amazing album. Like Pete
Thank
said, 19.
Yeah, 19 albums. But I always feel like it's a little disingenuous to say about 19 albums because I've been doing that since like 1999. I was like, Pete had his first band, Scarper, and he was probably still in that back then. I don't know if that was quite that far back, but yeah.
Yeah, it would have been close. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've had a long time to work on that.
Wow. So, you've got a lot going on your show. As we spoke backstage last Saturday, just to veer off a bit, was one of the funnest Saturdays I've had in a long time. It was just amazing to watch all four of you perform. Kid you not, and I was joking around. I needed a second mortgage Sunday morning, but I sincerely had a blast.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was telling Thomas, everybody in the chat who knows me, Saturdays I unfortunately get to watch. Not unfortunately, I get to watch all of Thomas's show, but then the puck drops at 7, and so I'm kind of just bouncing back and forth. But I didn't watch any of the game, and it was a great game against Colorado, but the show was just that good.
Thank you. Yeah, everybody did an awesome job this weekend. Jade and Brad and Pete. And you know what? We do it every Saturday.
That's it. Yeah.
We do it every Saturday. So you're more than welcome to come along. We'll have something great for you this coming Saturday, I know.
Absolutely.
All right. I'm going to leave. If you're okay, Pete, just give me a couple minutes. I'm going to get started on some of these shoutouts, and I'll let you take the reins.
Absolutely. Go for
So I like to start off with the show that we have so many shoutouts to do. To shorten the show, we've actually 60 premieres that I'm going to be shouting out right now. The rest, there's over 120 in the playlist. So please follow the link that's being posted for the playlist for the 53rd edition to catch up to some of these premieres if you've missed some throughout the week. Mike and Don put out a little part 1 edit process. You Find Me or Strange Delight. Ron Ward, yes, another Ron Ward sighting. His Strange Machine Studio, a song called Lucky. Just amazing work he's doing. He's working on an album. I hope I'm loud enough tonight. Tales Told in the Dark. This is just a fantastic channel that she streams stories from the 1700s, 1800s, early 1900s, and narrates them through with a little bit of music background. This one is The Woman Who Dared by the Nellie Bly story. It's just amazing. If you just want to chill, sit back for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes and listen, and it's just beautiful. The Nut House, Praying for Enemies, another great channel I enjoy visiting on Saturday nights. D-Lin, I Surrender. Coleslaw Shaw, Electric Bricks, Sonic Grace, Sonics, Texas Metal. Then we have my friend Mary from Italy, Ciao Bella. She's in the chat, Dancing in the Flames, the weekend cover. Prince Prodigal, my man, In the Beginning, a great track. Robbie Stingo was as busy as ever, but we can only shout out one, Instrumental Beaver. Martin Kelly, I just met Martin, and he's putting out some pretty amazing content. This one is one of the world's top models. The Leelaverse, Noise Space, create soundscapes in just an hour. Leela's got amazing channel, Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. I know the times are changing, and I actually had a peek today, but I didn't see Wednesday's show yet. And then she streams on Friday nights after Gary Hub, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Midnight Bandit, aka Joe Walsh, Worldwide Bandits. Midnight's doing some pretty amazing things with this Joe Walsh gig, and I'm loving it. Take Two Drums, Brass in Pocket, Emery Island, An Artist Imagining, Michael, aka Z Land, Time for Dreaming, another great Canadian, two back to back. We got John Lemon and Lemonade, an amazing artist, Thermal Love, and just an incredible poet as well. Sticks for Guns, New Human, Forest of the Wolf, Culinary with Hope, and Empirism is putting up some live streams, runs for about an hour, I think, noontime. Don't ask me which day, I should know. Quest for the Sound, just some great stuff. He's got such an amazing sound and amazing studio. So I'll let you take it from there, Pete.
Oh, very cool. So many, so many amazing artists and so much great music to cover, Frank. I don't know how you and your team, your wonderful team of moderators and helpers that put together all the show every week. Shout out to them. But we are here today to talk to Thomas Christ and to find out a little bit more about what makes Thomas tick. So the 19 albums thing, as folks have talked about and you've mentioned and you're very humble about and been creating for a long time, Tom. And one thing that I find really interesting over those years, I know a lot of people that are making their own music using different DAWs, you've had quite a journey from basically recording live onto one stereo track to going to the 8-track digital recorder, playing with Reaper, jumping into GarageBand and Logic Pro, and finally settling for now with the old Fruity Loops, the FL Studios. So why don't you take folks through? I thought it'd be interesting to just find out a little bit of that history about how you sort of worked through that and the different sort of pros and cons as you've gone through all these different platforms and what made you sort of choose to create the way you do now.
Well, that's a great question. And so I started off, luckily what was nice was I had gotten, before I started Thomas Christ, I had gotten a one of those mini disc recorders. And what was awesome about that is so what I had to do is I had keyboards. I had like a couple keyboards. One of them I was using like the auto rhythm drum thing. I had a headset like this with a microphone on it. So I could just play and do everything I needed to do and sing at the same time. Now the results, and of course that means if you make a mistake, you have to go back and do the whole thing over again. So it was a lot of just doing songs over and over again and getting them as good as I could. It kind of is what it is in terms of that. Then I got the digital 8-track, which I still have. You can't really see it too well, but it's in my background there. And so Dynamite Throw mentioning in the chat the Roland zip disk machine. This was a Boss BR8, very similar concept. Uses zip disks, which you had to buy it something in a very specific window of time for that to be a thing. It was pretty much like right then 2000 to 2002 or so, because we didn't use zip disks for very long at all. Makes them fun to find these days. So I went into that, and I only used that for one album exclusively, which was Christ World. That was my 4th album. And then I went into FL Studio and started doing things on the Mac, or not on. Oh, no, I wasn't using Mac back then. I was using PC, and I was using. So I was doing a lot of stuff still on the 8-track, but also kind of making things in FL Studio, and then also mixing things in. I think it was Adobe Audition at that point.
Right.
And then I moved on to Reaper for a little while, and what I would do is I would make the tracks in FL Studio and then do the guitar and vocals in Reaper. And so I did that for a couple of albums, and then I moved on to, I finally figured out, and I think the capabilities improved, just record right into FL Studio. So then I started doing that, pretty much is kind of what I still do today. I had a little jaunt, because basically what happened was, I released Apple in 2015, and then I didn't make any music for about 5 years there. In the meantime, I found Pete's channel just because I was searching. I'd gotten an iPad, and GarageBand's on the iPad. I downloaded some music apps, and I'm like, I wonder if anybody's ever made an album on this. And I searched that out, and this funny little man from Australia pops up. He's like, recording my album in GarageBand. So I start watching him. I'm like, this is fascinating. Wow. Really cool. And then I saw like he's doing live streams. I'm checking that out. So then, of course, as Jade Star calls it, the inconvenient, you can call it whatever you want. The thing happened in 2020, and we all had a little extra time on our hands. And I thought, well, I have to, my goodness, the world is insane right now. I have to write something about this. So I did. It kind of was a fool's errand because I wrote the Virus Infect album, and the problem with that was it was a cool album, but it was so specific to that time that I don't even really do those songs anymore. Very rarely do I do
except when I request them.
Yeah, when you request math. But other than that, then I and doing that, I started on GarageBand on iPad and then moved to I had an old Mac from like 2011 or something. I was doing the GarageBand on there, and then the natural step is to go to Logic, so I went to Logic. I used Logic for that album. I used Logic for The Creator, which was the album that came after that. And there was something that was just not quite right. And I'm like, I got to make this right. So I was in a little bit of a better situation maybe to do it. So I went ahead and bought FL Studio for the Mac. And I've been kind of in that, but I still use Logic for some things, particularly the Auto Drummer, because nothing has a feature like that. Like, just not seeing it replicated anywhere.
Yeah.
Very cool. And I love, I wanted to sort of put that out there because I know a lot of people are like, oh man, what do I use and how do I choose what to use? And it's like, keep trying things. And if you're like me, that you get sort of stuck in, like I'm very attached to GarageBand. It's kind of my baby and my comfort zone. But yeah, when you push yourself out of your comfort zone and you try different things, you could find something like FL Studio that works better for your process, or you may find that you do want to. I know people that are still recording onto 4-track and 8-track digital recorders because they love that more analog style process. So whatever works for you. People think I get offended if you don't use GarageBand or Logic or Apple Gear, and I'm like, nah. If you're making cool music, use whatever you can. If you want to just set a tape recorder and bang pots and pans together, as long as it sounds rad, then go your hardest.
I know lots of people making fantastic. First of all, some of the best music I've heard in this community is made on like an iPhone.
Yeah,
running just GarageBand on an iPhone.
Yeah.
So there's that. I've heard some magnificent music by some bigger name people made in like Cubase, made in Reaper.
Yep.
So there's lots of options out there, and it's kind of like use what you have, but if you have the means, think about things that are going to fit your style. Like the reason I like FL Studio so much is it works in patterns, and my brain works in patterns. It's like I want to create a pattern and then be able to just like paste it into a timeline. You can kind of do that in Logic, but it's not as intuitive to me as it is in FL Studio. But if you're doing like straight ahead rock music, I say get into like Logic or Reaper because that's perfect for that linear style of recording. That's so it kind of depends on what kind of music you want to make.
Absolutely, 100%. And I think we're going to hear, Frank, an example of some awesome FL Studio recording from Thomas's brand new album.
You got it. And the first one we've got on cue is Field of Snakes. Let's give it a spin, and then we can talk a little bit about it.
Awesome. The good one.
Till they're dying.
How great was that?
Super cool.
Thank you.
I love
Thank
it.
you.
I love that. Yeah, you. When I first heard Thomas Christ and I first heard his music, and I didn't know Tom and I didn't know what he looked like, I'm expecting this guy that's like got long dark hair, tatted up, piercings everywhere, like eye makeup. But it's not that Thomas can't put on that persona when he wants to. It looks cool doing it. But then I'm just like, he's like, oh, hey Pete, it's me, Tom from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I'm like, oh wow, that came out of this mild mannered, like super humble, really nice guy. It's like, it's interesting. It's probably where I wanted to sort of take things to chat about next time around.
Right on.
Obviously, your love of industrial, goth, punk, very sort of metalcore stuff. Has it always been that way? Is that what you've always sort of gravitated to and created, or did you have other phases and periods perhaps before you got down the dark industrial path that you're on now?
Well,
He says knowing something else.
Oh, boy.
see, I got introduced to music by like in terms of like my own kind of tastes by really what it was. I think looking back on it was like the soundtracks for the two like Ninja Turtles movies. I'm not joking. I'm no kidding at all. Because the first one had because I started off, I was big into like rap music, and I think it was like they had like MC Hammer was on the first one, and of course Vanilla Ice was on the second one with the Ninja Rap.
Oh, yes.
And so I was like, well, if he's cool enough for the Ninja Turtles, he's cool enough for me. So I got all the Vanilla Ice stuff. That was the thing in back those days, and then I got into other rap, and somebody introduced me to Crisscross and Jump. Remember that whole thing? So yeah, I started off with rap music, and I even listened to when I could catch it on like MTV because I wasn't allowed to listen to it. It was like Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg were just coming out then, and so yeah, I got my start with rap music. And then I had friends in high school or friends in grade school who got like I know I got the In Utero album. That was probably like the first like rock album I owned. My neighbors used to play like Metallica. They would actually play along with the Metallica. They would put their guitar amps out the window, and they would play for the whole neighborhood.
Oh, that's gold.
So I got. So I got a nice history lesson there in Metallica. That's why I know a lot of the old Metallica songs and stuff from that. And Korn, and they would blast the one part of a song whose name I won't repeat on the show because it's not appropriate for 2025. But there's that part where it's like, you can suck my and effing like it, and they would blast that out the window. You could hear it 3 blocks away. It's hilarious.
Very, very punk rock attitude, yeah. So Jade's saying here, turn it up, Tom. I'm about to. It's interesting because it's when you listen to your music now, that rap sort of rhythmic sort of machine gun firing out of the vocals in a lot of your songs definitely has that rap, dare I say rap metal. And I know that you've admitted in the past to being a bit of a fan of the new metal craze when that kind of hit as well, which took a lot of that sort of rock stuff and punk stuff and added in more of that rap kind of vocals, which is, I know a lot of people don't like it and call it out, but
it's making a bit of a comeback these days, actually.
Yeah,
like you got Fred Durst, Limp Bizkit going back on tour again. It seems like there's this new metal kind of revival that's happening. At least I don't know how much of it's ironic and how much of it is serious, but a lot of that music, it gets a bad rap, and people like Jade will decry it. But first of all, I think people get new metal confused with metalcore, which is horrible. Metalcore is terrible. That's the stuff that came after new metal that was like these really like whiny sing chorus, and there would be like heavy parts, and then you'd be into it, you'd be like, yeah, and then they would start like singing in very pop style singing, and I'm like, I don't know about that. But the old like there was a lot of good bands, and I went to all those. Mudvayne, Hugh called it out there in the chat, but I went to 4 years in a row Ozfest, 01 through 04, and saw all those bands live. and they were all amazing. And
Yeah.
I never saw an explosion of energy before than when I saw Drowning Pool with the original vocalist doing Let the Bodies Hit the Floor. When that chorus kicked in, man, that place just went ballistic. It was unbelievable.
Yep, I was there. We had those sort of bands. So System of a Down and Drowning Pool came out for one of the big day outs here in Australia, and I was in the mosh pit for that. And I think it was one of my last ever mosh pits because I'm like, I think I'm about 1 year away from being crushed to death in one of these things because it was just before, unfortunately, the T-bar came in because there were so many bad incidents with mosh pits. But yeah, you're right though. That level of energy of just bringing music, and I think bringing it back to your tunes, that's something that I get out of your stuff. Like when I first heard Virus Infect and Mask, I'm like, I still remember to this day, I heard Mask and I was out walking and I'm like, I got to hear that again. And I listened to it 3 times in a row because it just had so much energy. And I think you say it was like, time capsule for the time. And I think that's what music does a great job of being. It's like we were all very frustrated and going through this collective thing. And your music was basically just, painting a picture and giving us, like giving me and a lot of other folks a release because, I think it was the right album for the right time. And then the creator did the same sort of thing for the whole creative economy and what we're all doing now on YouTube and stuff. So, yeah, I think you do a great job with that sort of thing.
Thank you.
Where was I going with this? Yeah, so Vanilla Ice. But before that, because I think you mentioned previously that your parents introduced you to a lot of sort of older stuff, sort of folk music and sort of oldies, 50s and 60s stuff. And I think I definitely hear a lot of that stuff, not only in Folk U, your ulterior band that maybe we'll talk about a little later, but also in your music. For someone that creates industrial music, your melodies are just awesome. Do you think a lot of that comes from listening to a lot of those melodies and harmonies of the sort of the 50s, 60s doo-wop folk era?
I mean, it's certainly possible. Like, so there were, I would say, like, one album in particular that was played a lot in the car. We would go on these, family trips. You have to go to various places, beach and all this stuff. So they would put on in the car. There were like two albums they had. One of them was Folk 60s, the songs of the 60s, and it was all these great. Actually, really, I love them now because I know what they mean now. Like before, I was just like, oh, that sounds nice, and now I'm like, yes, because they're all, it's all subversive and stuff. So there was that, and then there was Highwayman by the Highwaymen. So that's, of course, and I think there's only one. Willie Nelson is the only Highwayman left from that group. Chris Christopherson just passed away not too long ago. So there was that album too, and I really love that. I love the old country. I don't know what they're doing in country now. It's because it's all become this like crossover with pop and rock, and I don't know, but the old stuff was really good.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that had some kind of an influence in what I did. But then I also have very eclectic tastes. Like one of my favorite bands of all time, probably may shock some people. Make some of the older people in the audience happy. Jefferson Airplane. If you've never listened to Jefferson Airplane, listen to them because this band was revolutionary. What they were doing. You could play that as they could have been a 90s indie rock band and they would have fit right in. They were ahead of their time.
Are they the band that then became Jefferson Starship and then Starship and then moved on? You like forget all that part.
Grace Slick was a hell of a vocalist though.
Oh yeah.
I mean, her vocals and they weren't warm. They weren't soulful. They were like cold.
They were cold.
And I it was like kind of almost goth. And I was like, I like this. I like this vocal style.
Oh, very, very cool. Well, look, I've got more questions. We'll talk more about the actual content of your songs because I think a lot of people probably realize that the lyrics are, like you said about some of that, they are interesting and they paint pictures and tell stories that are sometimes right in your face, but sometimes very thought-provoking. So, I look forward to talking about that. But, Frank, do you have anything that you'd like to throw in or check in with Thomas on?
Yeah, I'm going to actually right now, I do want to touch base on I do want to shout out my my mods. Wow, I can't even think. I've got 1,000 things going on in my head. Starting with Snooks and DJ and Lori and everybody out there. You're doing an incredible job, Pukian. Thank you all, and all the ones that support my channel. And I'm not necessarily monetary wise, but just the support and the encouragement you're constantly giving me to keep this show running. And I appreciate you all. I'm going to continue with some shoutouts, if that's okay, gentlemen. Brian Drums, Ironic. Tony McGreal, Misty Blue. Tony's an amazing guitarist. Drew the Genius. I Just Got to Get Away. Tom Caraher. Tom's been back with some little videos that he's doing. I'm not sure if it's in a music school. I think it is. It's just really cool stuff. Love the one you're with. Joe and Barry Glenn. Just a beautiful song. When I was in my prime, One Night in Bethlehem. What a beautiful folk song that is. And we all know what they can do. And this one's just, it's just amazing. Very well done. Scary Garcia, Funk Yourself, Dynamite Throw, Ashes, Dwight the Hitman Bailey, The Spark, Turtle Drum, Linda and Pierre, song titled Suzanne, Wally Grove Cricket, Falling Star Live, Wesley Media Hub, all the way from Australia. He's got a show called Music Zone. Please go check it out. A music news podcast, number 27. Me, Myself, and iPhone, who Thomas was referring to earlier, does all his recording on his iPhones. Just brilliant. Rainfield Music, No Quarter, a Led Zeppelin cover. And Rainfield's going to be on the show in a couple weeks or a few weeks. Mark Wade, Demon Eyes, Deep Purple cover. 11 Drums, a great young drummer, Toby, I met through Lori's Mishmash. If you're looking for collabs, he's available. Michael Lanthier, Wicked Games, a Chris Isaac cover. Obsidian Snow, Fever, Elvis Presley cover. Paul, all his music is produced by DJ Big Red, our very own. And Paul is just a brilliant songwriter. I Believe in Everything. Liz Aday, who closes out our show, and Liz is going to co-host coming soon with a Canadian band called Red Heaven. This song that Liz put out is What Can We Do? Anthony Rufo, Can't Take It With You. Anthony's another brilliant artist, guitarist out there from old school rock and roll. I love it. Live to Fly channel, Haywire, a really nice cover of Duff Thompson's song. Leni Perez, If She Knew What She Wants with Her New Guitar, a Bengals cover. And a channel that I want to introduce, there's a couple. One is this one here is SE Wolverines. I really like what he does, and I've got a particular care about this channel because I watched a stream that he had. I met him through Independent Many United. I watched one of his streams about, it was about 3 or 4 about the drones thing, and no more than 20 minutes after watching those back to back, they're like 5 or 6 minutes each, I end up writing a song and putting down lyrics for a Ninth Gate song. So coming soon. So yeah, really cool. It just goes to show how we can inspire one another in this community. And yeah. And Pete, I had one quick question for you. How do I check on, I want my Pete Johns t-shirt. It's been 4 weeks.
Oh, Teespring.
Teespring. Yeah.
See, so, I ordered t-shirts from both Jade and Pete way back. It was in August, and I didn't get them until mid-October, and I found out because I use Teespring for my merch too. I'm in the process of hopefully switching over, but this is happening all over the place with Teespring.
Okay. So, but yeah, and
Yeah.
it upsets me because they didn't send me, thanks for your purchase kind of thing. Like, so I
Yeah.
can't even put in a tracking number yet. So I didn't know if there was somebody I could call. Like, I didn't even get confirmation, but it's gone through.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I just didn't know if there was
No, you should have
anybody
at
I
least
can
got
call.
you
It's
should have
not
got
a
an
complaint.
email.
Like, I know
Yeah,
how
no,
to
no,
do it.
no. Look,
Yeah.
the reason I know, Fred, you reached out to me, and I'd actually taken my merch off the store. I sent you the link, so it's still there. But yeah, between providers at the moment, and unfortunately,
Okay.
Teespring, the last couple of times have taken way longer to get merch out there. So yeah, myself and Tom and others are looking for alternative suppliers because yeah, someone's like excited that they want to buy your shirt, and then they sit back and wait for 3 months and don't hear it. But yeah, if you contact them, they do get. I think you had to. Did you contact them in the end, Tom? Like you had to
Yeah,
log
yeah.
a complaint.
I might have contacted them twice actually.
Yeah,
They
so they will
sent me
respond.
2 surveys.
And
Both
please
of
tell us your
them,
satisfaction. It's like, please send me my shirt, and I will tell you my
I
satisfaction.
wrote on both of them the same thing.
Yeah, no, get in touch. They'll be able to find
I
your
will.
order
I will.
and hopefully fast track it. Sometimes they send a second one, and then you'll end up with 2 t-shirts. So just yeah, just
Oh no,
there's a
that's
tip
true.
for
It
you.
happened with Lori's mugs. I got 2 of them.
Yeah, because yeah, especially if you complain, they're like, oh, it must not have gone out, so they send it again. So yeah, it's a problem, and yeah, like I say, that's why I didn't have a public facing merch. Like you went there, and the t-shirts weren't there, and I sent you the separate private link because until they prove that they can actually deliver things under 2 months, yeah, need to find a new merch store. So yeah, as Snooks puts Thomas Christ merch in the chat,
Yeah.
feel free to buy, but just don't be planning. If you've got
Be-
if
be
you've got an
patient.
event next week, you might have it by Christmas time.
Way to go, Snooks.
Thank you. But I'm looking to switch over to Fourth Wall. I think is what I'm going to go with because I've seen a lot of good stuff about what they're doing. Seems to be like
when
the
you
same
find
kind
a
of
good
thing.
place, let me
Yeah.
know, Tom, and I'll move my stuff there too. It will be a mass exodus of Teespring. Unfortunately, Teespring just had the problem of getting too big, and we see this with a lot of companies that like they started off as like small little upstart, just selling t-shirts. They started selling everything like mugs and beer coasters and everything. They changed their name from Teespring to Spring. They got bought out by a different company, and then yeah, unfortunately, all their services have decreased in quality. It used to be 2-3 weeks. I'd give you order updates and it'll be cool. Yeah, the last probably 6 to 12 months, it's been not great.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, I do have one question, Thomas, is because honestly, I always bail on the featured co-host.
Hey.
The last person
I remember from
it was Thomas Hetriani, 15th Ben, said exactly what you said, Pete. Do you have anything to ask? No, it's your show. But no, Thomas, this one, I'm not even sure if I ever heard you say that you're working on a new album. I think the last thing I heard you say was, I've been so busy that I haven't had time to work on a new album. Unless
Yeah.
I'm wrong, but how long did this whole process? Because this is absolutely brilliant, track after track.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, that the whole process started because I kind of go into I do have, because of my work situation, my day job, I get a 3-month from July to September, which is why I'm always Pete's always trying to take my break away from me because right around this time of the year he starts saying, "Oh, Songtember's right around the corner," and I'm like, "Hey, wait a minute! I want July and August because I get to be off work." And so I go into that, always hoping to record some type of an album in that time. And so I did this year or last year, and kind of like got off to a slow start. Then I kind of hit my stride going in from August to September. Wrote a bunch of the tracks. A good portion of it was already done, except maybe 3 tracks. But I knew it needed like 8 tracks wasn't going to be enough. It needed to be like 10 or 11. So, so I went back to work, and then that puts a damper on things, and the time to actually work on this stuff is not great. And I have this incredible brain malfunction that, like, if I know something is going to happen later on, and I know I only have like an hour, I can't do anything. Because I know like all that's going to occupy my brain is like thing happening in an hour. And so you can't, it's like creatively paralyzing. And I need to get better at using those like little spaces in the day. But anyway, I was able to get the other 3 tracks done, and I really felt like the songs I had there were strong. I think it was more cohesive than the last 2 albums that I did that I thought were good, but they were a bit scattered and stylistically, and it this one really had a storyline to it, even if it's vague. But I think that's good. It gives us cohesion like sonically, especially with like the guitar tones. I got my guitars I got them set up for. I'm not set up for the first time because I'm not really a guitar player. But I can do some power chords and stuff. So I got those set up and got a consistent kind of thing. Only used, this is something Jade Starr actually mentioned, like using consistent guitar tones across the whole thing. So I used that and managed to get the whole thing put together and out there. And I'm just thrilled to be able to get it out to the world because the last year, before that didn't really amount to anything. So I hadn't released anything since like 2022.
Right. It's amazing.
It is.
Would you like to play the next song, Pete? Are we good with that?
Yeah, absolutely. This is The Garden of Eden, I believe, which is another absolute corker of a track.
Corker of a
corker? Bloody corker it is.
Yeah, corker, mate.
I should know
so
this.
Bonza. So bloody bonza, this track. Yeah.
I love it. Let's do it. Garden of Eden.
One side of the apple was eaten, the other side is black. In the Garden of Eden, they broke our backs. A broken rib and a ball of clay. This creation was the darkest joke. We seethe with the tide and bark at shadows. We were good, so good until we were bad. Temptation abounds in the field of snakes. We learned we were fake and broke. The mold growing on the fruit. We weren't permitted to eat. One side of the apple was eaten, the other side is black. In the Garden of Eden, they broke our backs. We were praying for praise, elevating. The plants in the garden were plastic. All we had were the rotten remains of the fruit of the tree of wisdom. Our reading wasn't motivated by evil. We were just starved and nearly dead. The spirit ends where the flesh begins. Forbidden, useful, carnal knowledge. One side of the apple was eaten,
Let me get us back on here. Absolutely
Boom.
killer.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's super powerful. Like just the sing along and the rock along and the bob your head to that. It's very indicative. If I needed to show someone, they're like, hey, what does Thomas Christ music sound like? I'd play them a track like that. There's plenty of tracks I could play, but that track is kind of indicative of the style, the lyrics just weaving in there, the familiar kind of sounds in the hook, but then just going off onto to different tangents and very cool. Great song.
Thank you. Well, that song was kind of the odd duck on the album because it didn't really, like, in my mind, fit much into the storyline. But it was such a cool song, and the lyrics were really just kind of like almost stream of consciousness stuff. But it just turned out to be such a cool song. I was like, I can't leave this off the album. It's got to be on there. So.
Which is interesting because I listened to it and I'm like with the snake reference and the apple and the garden. Like to me, it kind of fits, and I thought it actually like again in my narrative, but it's probably and it's one of the things, and I wanted to ask you about anyway, is that you've mentioned in the past that you get a lot of aggression out in your music, so that you perhaps don't take it out in real life. It's your outlet for getting that aggression out there, and as I said up front, when you talk to you. And you're just like, my old man is Thomas by day, and then Thomas Christ by night. Do you really feel that you switch personas, and when you're creating, you get into almost the character of Thomas Christ?
No, I don't know if I would characterize it that way. I think it's more just kind of tapping into things that are always there, but you have to kind of button all that stuff up for the rest of the world, but then you can when you're doing music, you can and catharsis is the key word there, and just finding an outlet for I can be a very angry person. People don't realize that about me necessarily, but I have some Italian ancestry. I'm very hot tempered, and so it's good to have a safe outlet for that. I think
it's more. So I got it basically exactly wrong. It's more the other way around, that the Thomas Christ is closer to you and your true feelings and what you're putting out there, and maybe you button it up for social consumption so that you can get by in life, which I think a lot of us do. We do have our different personas that we put out there, but it's super cool, and it really is a window. So like into the lyrics, and what I love about your music is the fact that you can take it on different levels. So you can just rock out to that tune and not think about it at all. You can think about it at the next level. And then perhaps if you're looking at some of the situations going on in the world right now with religion and politics and sex and drugs and rock and roll, you can really associate it to whatever you want. But it's not in your face, with the exception of a couple of tunes, perhaps. It's not as in your face just saying, this is exactly what this is about. And I kind of love that weaving of it, that everyone can interpret it on their own. Is that a deliberate thing, that you try and make it more of a puzzle, or is that just how it comes?
Well, yeah, I think on this album in particular, my goal was to be a little. Sometimes I feel like it can be too direct, and I just tell you this is the thing, and instead, what I want to actually do is say, maybe maybe what's happening here. Because I think about David Lynch and the brilliance of we just lost him. Brilliance of what he did was that everything he did was a question mark. Yeah. He didn't give you the answer, and I thought like, what a brilliant concept that is. Because if you're given the answer, like if you watch a lot of like Hollywood movies, you're spoon fed a plot. And then you're spoon-fed ending that's satisfying at the end. David Lynch didn't do that. He made you like, what the heck did I just watch? What's going on here? And you know what that leads to? You're going to watch it again because you want to know. You want to figure it out. But if there's nothing to figure out, then you're like, well, we're done here. So I like this, and I'm trying to intentionally be a little more mysterious, a little more esoteric in what I'm doing, just so that there's a thing that you want to come back to it and you want to try to figure it out.
Absolutely. Well, it works really well because,
Thank you.
I'm listening to this and like it's almost like every time you listen through, and it is more of a, and I know you've done this before with a lot of your albums, it's more of a concept album and telling a story that you've done with this one. And yeah, you listen to it again and it depends, almost depends what mood you're in, what's happened to you that day, what's in the news, what's going on in the world. You can kind of like put a different lens on it. Like if I'm feeling good, I'll just listen to it and rock out, like I said, or if I'm particularly pissed off about something and I listen to it, I'm just like, yeah, you tell him, Thomas. So it's cool that you can experience it on many different levels. Frank, do we have other shout outs and things to do?
We do. But I was just gonna shout out that, oh my, are we seeing the dark side of Pete and and Thomas?
I think
I think mine's been put on display, but
no, I meant the anger side. And
well, yeah, and I think I've always said I'm not an extrovert, but I play one on the internet, and like I'm also, if you ask my wife, and I'm sure if you checked in with Amelia, like we have our moments where you get very angry and you get very heated about things and about things that are going on. So yeah, it is, and I think having music as Thomas said it perfectly before, is that way to kind of vent the frustrations and to put it into that. And I've often said to people, and I think it's the same with Tom, is like, if you want to know my opinion on something, just listen to my music, because I'll always, sometimes folks like me and Tom, and probably you too, Frank, we're very polite and people think, oh, my old man and Frank, Tom and Pete, just sitting having a chat. And then, if they saw some of the behind the scenes and some of the things that go on, they'd be not shocked, but they'd be like, oh, yay, they're real people. So I think that's what's good about Tom's music, is that, it expresses, you can really feel the passion. He's not phoning it in. There's nothing fake about Tom's music.
Yeah, well, I mean, and a lot of it's just what's happening in the world right now, and you see it, and like what else can you do? Write songs about it. I feel like not enough people are doing that, actually.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's been happening since the 60s and 70s. Like you mentioned, folk music, that was pointing the finger at the bad things that were going on in the world then. And then through the 90s and 2000s, the aggression and the new metal stuff was because, again, things that were going on in the world. And then, it is. Music definitely follows that. And unfortunately, if people say, just keep politics and religion and sex and out of your conversation and out of your music, I don't think there'd be too many songs that have been written in the last 100 years if you removed all of those things from a lot of music.
Yeah, I mean, that's what rock and music was all about, and it really started out, even going back to like Elvis. Hey, you can't do that. You can't shake your hips around like that on TV. What are you thinking? Yeah, you're gonna excite people. You can't do that. And that broke barriers, and then the Beatles did it again, and it kept happening up through at least about 2000. Then I think kind of like, I don't know,
fizzled out a little bit. The boy band craze. I blame NSYNC, just quietly.
Yeah, and like I think about the kids today, they don't really have. We had like different music that we were really into, like it was our identity. And I don't think that's what's happening with kids today. I think music is just into that. It's the soundtrack to the video game.
Yeah.
And everything's about video games. And I show that I'm a very becoming an old person because I'm complaining about video games, but like
yelling at clouds and get off my lawn and all that sort of stuff. Oh, it's good. I'm sure many people watching and listening in can relate because we've talked zip discs, we've talked 4-track and 8-track recorders, and now we're talking about back in my day.
I'm amazed at how many people in the chat are still using their Fostex. I have mine still too. Yeah.
No, that's the cool thing now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It's all retro. Everyone wants the tape warble again, even though it took 30 years to get rid of it. Everyone wants to put it back in their tracks.
Yeah, with the Roland 606 drum box. You remember that thing?
Oh, yes.
All right. Here's somebody I met on Pete John's channel, and I'd love to have her on this show soon. Adorable Anarchy. A brilliant guitarist. She's just amazing, everything she puts out. I love the way, I love her tones, everything she does. Is just an incredible artist. Dragon Orb's music, he's in the chat. Ancient Castle, Dragon Orb music, another incredible talent. John Schur, Insidious Rant. Linda Jean, our newest mod, is in the chat. Write It Forward. Dwight Carr, The Ghost Is Gone. Dwight, I met through Pete. Rhodey's Jam Cave. West LA Fade Away, a Grateful Dead cover. PJ Colby, Breaking the Law, Judas Priest. The Chandler Brothers had an amazing premiere just before the big shows Saturday night. I just missed it by 5 minutes, but a great track. Plastic People. Talk about writing of what's going on, right? Cubic Lover, 1972. School. Shit That Needs to Be Heard. The Padded Pedal Room, Orange Man Blues, Gordium, aka Coax Chrome, Ghost in the Machine. Just love the vocals he's putting out there. Synthworks, he was here earlier, he had to leave. Jim Hebert, Questions. The Skeptics, featuring Tremor Bear and Ian Luckett, as most of you know. Put out a track called Lies. Phantom Agent, our good friend Clint. Do the Pop. 15th Bend and Wolf 7 Music put out a track called Famine. Abe the Band, a Tonal Riff Challenge 002. I'm going to stop after I do these upcoming. I think it's really important. I want to give it one more shout out to those of you who are contemplating on submitting your song or working on submitting your song. If you're struggling with anything whatsoever, if something's holding you back, please reach out to any one of us in here. You have Jade, you have Thomas, you have Pete. Just reach out. You've got Russ. The emails are all available. We can help you. I still think we need a lot more just so we have a variety. Again, I'm not exactly sure on the number we're at, but I believe it was 17. And I do know of about 5 artists that are putting something together, including ourselves with Ninth Gate. And then DJ, I'm not reading this. He's over the hill and far away. He wants me to announce my birthday. But he wrote a story here. So yes, it's my birthday on Wednesday, and I'll celebrate it on Thomas's show. March 14th is DJ's birthday. So yeah, happy birthday, DJ. Next Monday, we have on the Community Pulse. Please do not miss it. Mark it on your calendar, because you know it's going to be another great show with Jade Star and Brad Example. That'll be a lot of fun as well. Yeah. The next song you have on cue is In the Dark of the Night. Oh, In the Dark of Night. Correct me. Sorry. Did you want to talk about it before we hit play?
Pete, you're muted.
No, I think he's not muted, but the mic is off. All right, I'm going to hit play on the song, and then we can talk about it right after. All right, let's do this. In the Dark of...
I light my candles, but
Damn, that was good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello.
We're back.
Hello.
Am I back with audio?
You are.
Welcome
you
back.
are.
My apologies. I had a mixer malfunction. It reset itself, and then StreamYard didn't want to find it again, so I had to jump out and jump back in. But it was good timing because we got to hear that cool track.
Yeah, and what a nice 80s kind of feel to that. It's just a
Yeah, well, that one was actually inspired by Pete because he was working on Time McFlies, and he's doing an 80s track in Cubasis on the iPad. And I'm like, man, there's some good sounds in there for this. Like, I had to try to see what I can come up with, and I did. And so that track actually started in Cubasis on the iPad, and then I moved it over and did the vocals and stuff. But a lot of it was from Cubasis.
See, we've completely sold people. We're like, yeah, Thomas creates industrial music in FL Studio. And then it's like, now here's a synthwave tune in Cubasis. But it's cool because I was saying in the chat there, I'm not sure. Like, I love the stuff you do with the synth sounds and the sort of the 80s wave stuff. I'm not sure if I like it more or less than your industrial stuff. And I'm like, you know what? Doesn't matter. I like both. I like both sides of Thomas Christ.
Yeah, well, I like to be multiple and do different styles, and it gets boring when you're just boxed into one thing all the time.
Yes, you know my view on this, but I think we were talking about it before, the whole like new metal genre. It's like, oh, I hate a genre, and I got so frustrated because growing up, again, for all those old folks, you were rock, or you were hip hop, or you were dance music, techno, we called it back in the 90s. You're a techno head. Oh yeah, well you're a grunger. And it's like, how about we all just like whatever music you like, and you're allowed to like different stuff? But I spent 10 years not listening to anything that wasn't guitar distortion driven rock.
Even if,
missed out on so much.
I know. Even if you want to do, I mean, I came from the era where we had disco sucks.
You missed out on Earth, Wind and Fire. You missed out on some of the coolest bands going. Like, that's
no. Trust me, I listened to it. Just nobody could hear me.
Quietly in the corner so no one could do it.
Yeah, that was like in your room at night.
Yeah. Oh, my sister's listening to it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think many of us had, my sister's record collection. I'm just going to listen to it. Dirty Dancing soundtrack was one of my favorites of all time. And I loved all the songs on that, but I couldn't tell anyone at the time. It's just like, oh, were you listening to the Dirty Dancing? Oh, no. Let me just grab Nevermind and put that back on. Yeah, that's what I was listening to.
Yeah. Try telling somebody that they listen to Gladys Knight and the Pips when you're walking around with the Led Zeppelin logo on your jean jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just didn't work.
No.
True. So some really cool music, and that one was from a few years ago, and I didn't even know that I inspired that one, Tom. I was listening to it then. I'm like, oh yeah, because it does. It's got some of those cool Cubasis synth sounds, which sound good. And I sort of Jamie Malander, who's a creator that many of you may know, is a massive Cubasis guy and a super cool dude. And he sort of inspired me to try Cubasis, and I've only done 2 songs to this day in Cubasis, but yeah, it is so cool to get out of your comfort zone and try something new. Just today, I was trying like a rap song for some reason in Logic Pro on my GarageBand show, and it is just fun to do different things, which I know you've done, Thomas, because you've got some side projects and some other things as well as Thomas Christ that folks may or may not know about. Tell us the background and the history of those. What made you go and do different things outside of the Thomas Christ brand?
Well, the main one is Folk U. And I think you get the mistaken idea when you hear the name that you think that it's folk music, and I think it's more like the general sense of it's for the people, it's for you folks, folk you. But it's just stuff that doesn't fit in the umbrella of Thomas Christ because it's silly and it's goofing off, and so that's kind of why I did that. And I would just do these tapes and just start recording. I'd play guitar or play a keyboard and just make up stuff, and that's where like Bossa Nova Button comes from and ET Phone Home. Those were just improvised things that that I eventually worked into like fuller songs. The ET Phone Home, I only did that a few years ago, but Yeah, there's that one, and then the other one is wearing a crazy hat, which only has I think 3 songs. Although I may be working on more with that soon because I've gotten the itch to do something with that maybe. But yeah, it was the whole idea was just making songs about wearing because I thought the idea of calling a hat a head sock was funny. And so the two songs that have lyrics mention a head sock in it. That's kind of the only thing that it has going. And it's got I made this great album cover in MS Paint with this crazy looking guy where his hat is like it's like he's wearing a hat and it's a city. It's nuts.
That's so cool. They're definitely not AI generated then, that sort of stuff. That's
No.
super cool.
Well, I did do an AI generated version because I wanted to see if I could like reproduce it in AI, just because I do silly stuff like this with this AI art
Yeah.
stuff because I find it funny. But it got pretty close actually. It did a decent job on that one.
Yeah. No, but yeah, you've definitely done some really cool and some creative things. Yeah, the vaccination for stupidity, like the video and the song for that one, just made me laugh the first time I watched that. And vaccine for stupidity. Yeah, like it's just so cool and creative, and like it just goes to show that just trying things with music can definitely work. And if you just like I say, just pigeonhole yourself and only do one thing, it's no fun.
Exactly.
Speaking of fun, people may not know because they listen to music and it's like industrial and it's guitars and drums and beats and vocals, but keyboards are kind of your go-to. You're a keyboard and a synth guy.
Technically, I could be in the pianist section.
I was
But I don't like to go by.
and that's coming next. That's just so ironic you bring that up, Pete. Well, I guess
See,
I know.
I'm the king of the segue.
But,
really,
I don't like to go by pianist because that has certain connotations to it and so forth. So I like to go by a keyboardist.
Yeah. So
Or actually organ. I got into organ
He's a
before
pianist.
piano, which that's not much better,
It's organ, but
admittedly.
yeah, so tell us about that because that's a bit weird. You kind of have a Weird Al Yankovic style story where because he started learning and he's like, yeah, well, I want to learn an instrument, drums, guitar, and his parents were like accordion, and he's like, okay, I'll roll with it. So organ and then keys and then piano and synth and what drove you to that or made you, was it the forced to do piano lessons like the rest of us, or do you have a variation on that?
Yeah, no, I think just you hear organ and it's a phenomenal instrument. The people hundreds of years ago before electricity, they thought, let's put all these like whistles together in this Rube Goldberg type device, and we'll pay these kids to like pump the bellows, and people can play. And this is how Bach created all his great stuff on there. So many Handel, so many of the Pachelbel, so many of the famous composers wrote for the instrument, and these things are massive, and they create very loud, very different sound. But I really think I call the organ the steampunk synthesizer because that's really what it is. That literally is what it is.
Oh yeah.
I mean. Being able to reproduce different tones long before digital, long before electricity, long before any kind of synthesis was possible, but you could do it this way, and it's mad. Like nobody would do this. Nobody would build this instrument today. The only reason they do is because there's a tradition of it, but it's crazy. So I think that's what attracted me to it. And I kind of avoided the piano for a long time because I was like, piano's kind of boring. It just makes one sound. And I think only in the last like 5 or 6 years, I've really kind of discovered piano and how cool that can be and taught myself to do that.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, organ is nuts. I know my grandma used to have an organ, and it was one of the pedal ones. So yeah, you pedaled the bellows and played it, and it had the pull stops that you'd pull out to change the harmonics and the tone. And yeah, then my folks had like the 70s style organ with the bossa nova button that had the actual brown pedals, so you could actually play the pedals with your hands there. And then so organs definitely been around again for a long time. Obviously, church organs and pipe organs, but then with the whole craze around digital organs came, it was super cool. And I think we look back on that now, we laughed at the time, and now it's like, oh man, that was actually really cool.
Yeah.
I learned to play Let It Be on a wooden box organ that you unlatch, you lift it, you plug it in, you hit the switch, and you have to wait till the air fills up.
And it had the
can
loudest
actually-
fan on it.
Yeah, that was just so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just no, so cool. And yeah, like you say, I think I love that the steampunk synthesizer. I've heard you say that before, and I'm like, yeah, there's got to be like once we get a t-shirt supply, you need a steampunk synthesizer with a big picture of a kick-ass organ on the front, and I reckon that would be super cool. Or that could be your next album, integrating organ sounds. Speaking of organs and penis, Frank, you've got some,
Yes, it is
some keys
pretty
players
much
to talk about.
that time. And
Getting my prop ready.
let's just hope that Lori and Linda Jean can contain themselves. I do want to do just a few shoutouts. Doing for others, I think it's really important. I really dig what these shoutouts do for the community. It's exactly, and you know that's Lori jumping on.
I love organs.
I just learned a penis is an organ.
Yeah, I didn't know that, Thomas. That's
Okay.
awesome.
Yeah.
I used
You
to
only
play
like
my
big
grandpa's
organs, or is my tiny organ okay too, Laurie?
Tiny one's okay.
Okay.
It's not the size that matters.
Do that again, Pete. No, last week he was like 3 times he was trying to do it. Nobody caught it.
Oh, I caught it.
I caught it right away.
I remember that.
Okay. So
let's
anyways,
get going.
Pete, I first heard it on your channel when you say Sharon is Karen. It confused the shit out of me, but it took me a few weeks, but I figured it out. But these are some of the artists that really do a lot of sharing of our music in our channels. Dan Anderson, Leni Perez, Read Between the Lines, Rebel Rocker, Feisty Feather, DJ Big Red 81, Crimson Crux, Queen Survivor, Mike and Don Genesi. We have Lori here. With just so much generosity in this community. I'll hold off on the last mentions, but I saw Axe and Nacho here. 11 o'clock. Don't forget Axe and Nacho. After this show, you will be dumped over to Vince Janella's stream, which starts at 9. And that's it. And then we'll continue with the mentions in a bit. So this is the time, and I'm serious when I say it. I respect all composers and pianists. I think it's just it's a beautiful instrument. It really is. And yeah, so we created this little segment, which stop, Lori. I'm trying.
No, I love that you respect the penis. It's really nice.
So it got to the point, no matter what I say, yeah, behave now. Anyway, so these pianists and composers that are from our community, I think are incredible, and I think I can't even say what Thomas says. Feloniously
undersubscribed.
There you go. So please follow the links that are going to be posted to this little montage we put together with the music by Chris Durham. So here we go. Pianists. Yeah.
So many lovely penists.
I love how at the end it says drop in and offer them some support.
He showed penis. Sounded
I-
funny.
I was inspired. Mine grew. Well, that's how inspired I was.
It got much bigger. All right. Well, hey, great show so far. Glad I could pop in.
Thank you.
Thanks for all that
And-
you do, Lori.
Oh,
Really.
thank you, Frankie. And don't forget, next week you have 2 awesome pianists on.
Yes, not next week. Oh,
Is it next week?
what did you say?
Oh no, next week is Jade and Brad. When are
Yeah.
the pianists on? All right, they're on soon. I'm going to have 2 pianists on. All right.
Yeah.
Have a great show. See you in the
2
chat.
penis in one show.
Yeah,
There you go.
a lot of penis.
Talk to you later, cuz.
I don't
She-
know how you. I don't
she
know how
is-
you continue the show after that segment.
I don't
frankly.
know. I don't know. My jaw hurts just reading everybody's. I can't even say that. Okay, we got to stop. And I just want to say, Lori, I love her. She truly is the glue of this community. She works so hard behind the scenes to make sure everybody's happy. I just love what she does.
Heck yeah.
Thomas,
True.
All right.
this
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you guys talk, but before you guys get into it,
Mhm.
you know this is my favorite song. If you hadn't have chosen this, I would have vetoed one and added it or make it 6-song night. But Existence is Feudal is my favorite song. I mean,
Well, thank
I
you.
just wanted to throw that in.
Thank you.
And
appreciate
that after that song came out is I jumped right over to your channel and proudly I own your whole discography. Yeah.
Yes, and thank you for that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Pete. I think you did the same.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
And
I
it's
got
well
on
worth
board
it.
on the last album, and it's definitely worth checking out. And Thomas actually taught me about Bandcamp, so I think I taught Thomas about DistroKid, and he taught me about Bandcamp, and now we're both on both. So, testament to the fact that put your music everywhere, people. You never know. You may sell 0 copies, 1 copy, or 100 copies, but you don't know until you put it out there. So, if you're making music, release it. Let people support you by buying your stuff.
Yeah,
Lose it.
absolutely. Yeah.
Lose it.
You've got nothing to lose. I mean, and my advice to those that are putting it out and maybe being discouraged that it's been out for a month and you maybe sold 1 copy, you know, my sales didn't come all at the beginning. Like I may sell a copy, think the last one was about a month ago, of something I posted 2 years ago. It just happens when it happens, when somebody, you know, happens to like something. Just be patient, leave it out there. It doesn't cost you to leave it on the shelf. Right?
So
Exactly.
very, very true.
Exactly.
Just yeah, if it's not there, then people can't actually buy it. And again, the best thing is to have the best of both worlds. So I own all of Thomas's music, but I can't admit that I don't go to Bandcamp that much to listen to it. I'll listen on my YouTube music playlists, so I can add them there as well because Thomas is smart and releases everywhere. So his music's just available, and I got to say, this particular song, that the album, "Future Music for a Futureless World," is the best title of an album ever. It's such a brain breaker because it's future music for a futureless world. It's like, here I'm making music about the future. This is futuristic. This is future music, and for a futureless world, there will be no future. And it's like, but it's future music, but there is no future. And it's like, I remember the first time I heard that, I'm like, that is the coolest paradoxical title for an album ever. I can't wait to hear it. And this is one of my favorite tracks too from that particular album,
And just exemplifies his writing, eh? All right,
for sure.
let's do it.
crucial. I'm finding out existence is feudal. I sit within my lonely mind, searching to find enough reasons to persevere. But I'm beaten raw, expose these flaws, and my ambition disappears. Apathy, all that's left, hidden in this mess of dead in every last nerve. It all feels so fake, looking for every escape. Maybe it is deserved. Nothing makes sense to me anymore. Falling so hard, the blood's on the floor. I feel like this world, and that is crucial. I'm finding out existence is futile. It is so easy to forget just who you are when you're not shining new and sparkling. You'll smolder and then you're just like a candle on a cake. You get blown out and it's somebody's birthday, but you didn't get invited, so you just stay at home and imagine being there with a full book of matches and a can of gasoline, and so it burns very brightly. You can almost hear the screams over the wail of the sirens, and the smoke smells like a campfire, and you're still nothing, still no one, still a dying bag of flesh and bone. Still nothing, still no one, still a future corpse of this world. Still nothing, still no one, still a dying bag of flesh and bone. Still nothing, still no one, still a future corpse of this world.
Right? Wow. Oh, let me unmute.
That's a Thomas Christ song that I don't listen to when I'm already feeling a bit down.
Yeah, definitely. Don't
That's
recommend that.
That's an introspective one that I'm like, yeah, I save that for when I'm already feeling okay and I'm going to be able to cope with it. But man, does it hit you in the feels like that?
Yeah.
That verse at the end that just keeps going, like it just creates this feeling of tension and anxiety, like towards the end, and you're like, he's not invited to the party, and then he's going to get the matches, and then he's going to get the gasoline, and then it's like, wow, it's so epic. It's the absolute definition of an epic song lyrically, and then musically, Yeah, just amazing. And the way that Thomas layers up vocals with vocal doubles and then with the harmony vocals going in there, the vocal treatment, the reverb and the delay, it's just, it's perfect. It suits the music beautifully. So
Thank you.
Good song.
Yeah, I was driving up.
It's a really dark one. It's a really
Yeah,
dark one,
yeah.
and it just it came from a really dark place. I'll be honest with you. It was a point in time when I just felt like everything personally, professionally, socially was collapsing in on me, and I felt like abandoned in the world. And it was a tough time for a wide variety of reasons. And so yeah, it's one I don't even do very often because it just comes from such a dark place, I think. And yeah,
and I think as Frank and as I know, like they're the songs that connect with people.
Yeah,
for,
that's
for
what I was
better or
thinking, like,
worse, a lot better than
a
Yeah.
lot of people could probably relate to feeling that way at times.
Yeah.
And so
I kid you not, I was driving up north, and I love everybody's music in our community, but there are a few songs that I'm going to hit play and play again and wait till it's over and play again. I drove up north actually to meet Hetriani, and I must have played that at least 3 or 4 times over on the highway. Just hit replay.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I'm serious.
So by the time you got there, Het was like, Frank, you look depressed. What's wrong, man?
It actually fires me up.
Yeah.
I like
It can have that,
that
can't it? It can have the
style.
opposite
Yeah.
effect.
It fires me up, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
Brilliant
true. And
stuff.
yeah, I listen to a lot of Thomas's stuff now, and even the darker stuff. I think there's that collectiveness of just going, hey, yeah, if things are going badly as they are now and have been in the past, you go, yeah, you kind of need that to again, to vent out any of that sort of aggressive feelings and sometimes the dark feelings as well. Better to make a song about it than to act on it. Like I've
Yeah.
read a song called Murdering Time that's all about that. That yeah,
I was
like,
thinking of that song earlier when you were talking about that. I was like, that song hits the nail on the head.
Which is my version of that, which is like, look, do I legitimately think that I have to sit around doing nothing? Otherwise, I'd go out and kill people. Well, no, like it's a dramatization of that, but
exaggeration.
does it
a little
come?
bit.
Does yeah, slight exaggeration, but do these things come from real feelings that we have? Absolutely, we all have
Yeah.
those dark feelings, and whether it's playing a violent video game or writing a song to express your feelings, yeah, I think we need outlets. If you don't have an outlet for it, it can manifest it, or it can bubble up in other ways and impact relationships and all sorts of other things. So, yeah, I like it. I like Dark Thomas. See, but then I'll have to go listen to E.T. Phone Home after that so that I can cleanse.
Well, I'm actually thinking because my brain works this way. I'm already on to the next album, and I've already been thinking about it for a few weeks, and I'm kind of thinking it's going to go in a bit of a direction that's a little bit, because I've been pretty heavy and I've been pretty in the weeds with like really dark topics for a while. I kind of want to make an album that's a little not, it's still going to have a darkness to it because it's Thomas Christ. It will have that, but it'll be a little bit more upbeat, I guess.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, I don't know, we've got another song to play. We've got a little bit more time to chat here, but
We got time.
You mentioned that it's Thomas Christ, so it's this way. There aren't too many. When I ask people, hey, what questions would you like me to ask Thomas Christ when I chat to him on Frank's show? The one that comes up every single time is, why Thomas Christ? Why did you choose that name?
Oh,
And feel free to go into as much or as little
man.
detail
That's
as
a
you'd
great
like to.
question.
It is.
But yeah, like I know, and looking back at some of your album titles, I mean, Louder Than God, Blasphemous, like there's definite tones there. It's hard to hide behind. So again, feel free to give as much or as little detail as you like. If you want to leave it a mystery, if you want to be like a lot of artists are, it's your jigsaw puzzle.
Can I guess?
Oh,
Okay.
Based on syllables?
Mm-hmm.
Is that how the title came?
Thomas Christ.
Just needed one syllable surname.
No, it was actually because this started back in 1999. I was 16 years old. I faced heartbreak for the first time.
Oh wow!
And had a really difficult breakup with the girl in high school, and that's kind of where it came from, because I was like, well, and I made a song later on. It wasn't until Christ World, but the song "Feel Like a Christ" was about that, it being, where I came up with the name. It was like, I feel like I'm being crucified here. Which, because the over dramatic way that you think about things when you're 16 years old and your life is over and everything's ruined, and so yeah, I mean, that's kind of where it came from. And because I'd made some albums, and I thought I might as well just keep going with it. So no, it's not my real name at all. Is it the name lottery? I think there is some guy out there named Thomas Christ, actually. I think he makes like jazz music or something. I found him one time. But and yeah, so like in later on, I did kind of get in when the period you're talking about. I was really into this idea of being like this edgelord. And these are a lot of the songs that like I do now, and I can do some of them, and some of them I'm like, oh geez, because I was just trying to push the envelope as far as I could, and then you. It's not that I've lost my edge. It's just that it's become more focused. Yeah. And before it was just like it's like a flamethrower to everything, and this now it's more like laser. Like I have a definite purpose for when I do things like that, and I don't use it all the time indiscriminately.
You just wanted to burn it to the ground with fire.
Yeah.
At the time, yeah, and I think we've all written songs that we not regret, because I don't think you should look back on things with regret, but there were different times and different things that were okay, or not even okay, but just accepted, that now you wouldn't. Like you were talking about with that particular line from the song that people used to put their speakers out and blast into the crowd, like into the public. You wouldn't do that. Well, you would be. Some people would still do that just to be dicks, but most people wouldn't do that these days, because there's a lot more consequences to actions like that. And back then, it was about the shock value as opposed to actually, and I think that's the difference. When I listen to your early stuff, there's a lot of shock value there. And again, because you were young, you can tell you were an angry teen or early 20s kid writing these songs. And then your songs now are angry, but they're poignant and they're focused, and they actually cut deeper because they are more focused on, and you can just really feel that. It's just like, whew, yeah, I wouldn't want to be that person right now. Like Nuclear Football, like one of your more recent tracks. That thing just goes on a different level, because that's got this real fun, we're out for the sport ball game. And then you just crack into it and you listen to the lyrics, and it's like, wowzers. That's, it has that beautiful contrast. And I think that's, I talk a lot about that dynamics in music. And I think having the contrast in your music is what makes it really good. Otherwise, you just, the unpredictability of it. Hey, JJ wanted to know about You Rock and the origins of that. So when and where and how and why did you go from, hey, I'm playing my music and I'm doing my thing, to I'd actually like to play other people's music and support them now?
Well, it was obviously, like, you started your music live. And I think that was kind of the first thing that was like, oh, this is a cool concept. This is like, people seem to be into this. And back then I was talking with Russ on Clubhouse, and he was like, I was telling him, I was like, I have this idea. What if I started one of those shows where you play music? And I think back then, like, the only people doing it were like you and Hippie, and I think Ron Ward had a show on like Facebook or something. And so that was kind of like it. And like you've wisely chosen to do on your show only 2 minutes and 30 seconds of each song, which I'm like, man, did I F that one up? I did borrow a few concepts from you, and I should have borrowed that one, but I didn't think I'd get away with it at the time. And now I'm looking at, he's got almost 40 submissions for Wednesday, and it's Monday.
Yeah,
which is a good problem to have. Like I said, I've been on the other side of that coin. I've been where there's nothing. And it's like, am I gonna have enough to do a show? So I don't want that problem, but it's just trying to find a balance of, like, not wanting to exclude people, and I am a softie at heart, and I just feel like, oh, I'm gonna piss somebody off if I don't play it. So so that's kind of where it came from. It was like, well, maybe I could do a different angle. I think some amalgamation of what Pete does and what Hippie does might be cool. Like there might be a market for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I finally, and I wish I had started it earlier than I did, because I hawed about it for months. And then finally, like September, pick the auspicious date of September 11th, 2001 to start the You Rock. So that's always the anniversary of it. It just worked out that way for a little while, doing it on Saturdays, and it kind of like, it wasn't, didn't always work with the time. So we moved it to Wednesday, and that's kind of where it's lived ever since then.
Well, it's a very cool show, and I like your segments and the approach you have with it. And at least you don't get people that are highly offended because you are destroying their art by only playing half their song. Because there's some people, I can tell you, behind the scenes that are very unimpressed with the fact that I play only a sample. But hey, you got to have your point of differentiation, and that happens. Well,
actually, initially when I started, I put a thing on the forum that said,
"That's right.
Do you want to have the whole song played or just a portion of it?" And by a landslide, maybe 2 people would say, but then I would run into the problem where I'd have the 2-minute thing and I want to use it as the halftime headbang. So it's like, well, I can't do that anymore. Now I do have a thing on the forum about it, but I've never actually like gone forward with doing only 3 minutes with the people who allowed it. And I don't know. We'll see what happens in the future as far as that goes.
Yeah. Oh, it's very cool, and for anyone out there that thinks that I'm all bitter and we're rivals and I don't like what Ron and Tom and Hippie have done, it's like no. Like raising tide raises all ships, and that's the way it works in music. There's no you can't have too much of this. It's all optional. You can watch it, you don't have to watch it, and it's available there when you do want it. And I think it's great because you can just stick it on. Like I'll often have You Rock on in the background, as you know, because it's my Thursday is my busy work day because I'm preparing for a weekend of live shows. So I'll be there in spirit, and I'll have it as like my background soundtrack while I'm doing thumbnails and setting up live streams and recording my podcast and doing all that fun stuff. So it's a great show, and I know some people are there, like your wonderful moderator crew are there, and like you are with my shows for the whole time and slinging the links and doing all that stuff. But then there's people that come in and they're like, I'm so sorry, I can't be here for the whole thing, I've got to go. And I'm like, yeah, it's totally fine, dude. You don't have to worry about it. Just like you'd have to say hello individually to every person. Ain't no one, this isn't life and death here, people.
Well, no, you do though.
Just
you have to say hello to everybody. I started that. I was the one that started that whole thing, I think. And it was because like I started coming into Pete's shows, and there were these little groups of people that would like say hi to each other, and some people wouldn't say hi to people, and it was like I just started saying hi to everybody. And I think Mark Bro followed right behind with doing that, and then it just kind of became a thing. But it's just because I didn't want people to be like left out or anything. I was like, well,
you really are a softie, Thomas Christ.
I know.
Well, and I did mention that. Did I say it on the show or backstage? Where it was you who kept reaching out. It was like, this guy keeps saying, and then you actually taught me a few things of what not to say in chat. And yeah, I was.
Did you get timed out by Thomas Christ?
No, he didn't. He was actually polite. I was doing something, and he says, I don't think that's a good. I can't remember. I'd be lying, but you were quite polite.
Yes, he is polite. We do in a lot of shows. Thomas comes in and he tells people in no uncertain terms what they can and can't do. I think how does he word it? Like self-promotion is generally not encouraged in the live strat or something like that. Instead of saying, "Oi, stop telling us to play your fire beat," be like, "Here's the form where you can submit your song. You don't need to keep telling us how awesome you are. It's not necessary."
Oh, it's the ones that come in and just put in like an artist name and a title. Play this. And
I'm like, they're
still doing that now.
There must be shows where that's a thing, where the chat is just come in and name a song and then the person plays the song, because we get that so often that. Yeah, I think I had it. I was doing GarageBand Weekly today, and someone came in.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
And I'm like, dude, this isn't the show where I play your music. What gave it away that it's called GarageBand Weekly? And no, but again, it is fun. The fun of live streaming is good. So, do you find that? What do you enjoy doing more? Your music stuff or playing people's music, Tom, or is it a love and a joy of both things?
You know, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Playing people's music is a lot more work.
True.
The people don't realize that, like, to do You Rock. And Pete does know. Pete definitely. I think Frank has a pretty good idea.
Oh yeah.
But like, it's, working, and I'm trying to do my day job, and then I'm sneaking over here to do a little bit of work on the list, like, because I have a whole system, and there's all this like 4 spreadsheets, and it's insanity. But I just really want to be like, as organized as I can be, and so
Yeah, no,
just
it's very cool.
understand that, like, and especially like if people try to say, hey, like, can you squeeze this song in, and it's like 5 minutes till the show. I wish I could, but things have been sent out to other people, and the lists are already there, so it's like, you just have to have a little patience. We'll get you on next week, but.
Yeah, and that's why you wisely did the form approach as well from early on, because that's the one saving grace that I could just direct people back, and I know you do the same. You direct them to the form, because otherwise you get people jumping into your messenger, and then they'll Instagram DM you, and then some people will email you, and then it's like people voice message for you, and it's like, no, fill in the form. It's got everything that we need, and we can get it done. Because guys, it gets messy. I know Metalhead Hippie used to the amount of times I'd hear him talk for 5 minutes and giving you the instructions. Okay, email this, but not yet, and then put this in the subject line, and then I'm going to tell you this.
You got to listen up and listen to what the hippie says. Boom. What you got to do is you got to email to hippie, metalheadhippie@yahoo.com. Right on. Boom.
JJ. That is the best. I noticed you didn't do a Russ voice when you were talking for Russ before, but I'm glad we got a Jeff voice in there, Tom. That was gold.
You know why you're here?
You know why you're here?
What's that? 907. That's what you're doing here.
Oh man.
And yes, and please don't think you're a burden by sending us your music, because we wouldn't have a show. I often say it's your music live if it was just my music live. If no one sent music and no one watched and listened, it would be a very boring show. So
that's why I said before, I've been on the other side where you don't have enough.
Yeah.
And you can always like hold some stuff over till next week. Of course, that's kicking the can down the road, and that creates other problems. But if you don't have enough, without the songs people send in, there's no show. So, like,
it's true. Yeah, I love Laurie's comment here. She says, she'd always send the email in and then break the rules because they'd change afterwards. And I must.
Oh yeah, they changed at every break when he would stop and talk about if he was doing like a contest or something. He's making that up while he.
Oh yeah, I must admit I'm not normally a troll on the internet. I actually don't feed the trolls, and I don't like to be a troll. But there was one thing I loved doing with Jeff, and Jeff, we all love you, mate, and we hope you're doing well. But every time he would say, send the email, but don't send it yet. Every time I would just put in the chat, email sent. Like, I couldn't resist it. Every single time he said, don't send it yet, I would just put email sent. And I'm like, oh, I feel bad now looking back on it. But it was too fun, because I listened for 5 minutes and I was like, that's my way of saying, play the song, Jeff. You can talk about the email later. Oh, fun. Penis.
Fun
yeah, let's talk about penis again.
It's all penis. Yeah. I'm going to continue with finishing off with some of these shoutouts, because Friday nights has become quite the event, starting at 2 o'clock with Valerie Bott, followed by Charlie Gabaldon at 3 o'clock. No Metalhead Hippie yet. I have a funny feeling he'll be back. Then at 8 o'clock is Independent Many United. And you also have Smith and Valerie at 8 p.m., followed by Pole Vault and Sunshine Archer with the Friday night warm-up. And then Lori's Mishmash at midnight. Gary Hubbs at 2 a.m. Eastern Time. and followed by Leela at 3:15. It's quite the lineup Friday. It's a great kickoff, and I never make it past 12. This week I did manage to. I fell asleep when I got home, and I got up. I don't know, 11:30, just before the show, so I was able to catch a bit of Lori's. The Nut House, Saturday nights at 10 p.m. A great show there. Niels Han Dynasty, SE Wolverine. There's a couple great channels there. JM Unleashed, Word Game every Monday, 5 p.m.s. Rich New Design, Dom Torgrosa and Chris Lane Sr., two amazing individuals and amazing supporters in our community. Camp Gmail at 10 o'clock, Saturday nights. Axe and Nachos, Mondays and Wednesdays at 11 p.m. The Falcro's back. We got Rhett, the Mix Club. Balls. Was that Rhett?
Yeah.
Man. And Nura's guitar channel. I saw Nura was in here earlier. If you're a beginner or you just want to learn strumming patterns and stuff like that, that's a great channel to go check out. A lot of up-to-date music and just basic strumming, and it's got the lyrics. It's pretty cool. Michael Songs every Sunday at noon. Great show there. Pompey Music, music teacher, another great channel. And then we have a whole bunch of karaoke streaming channels. I don't even know if it's proper to say karaoke streaming channels. They're just artists that sing along to backing tracks. We got Miss High and Pendargan, an amazing show Saturday nights. Jovel de Pusas every Friday morning Eastern time. Shimmer Soul, Punk Media Karaoke, Leia Ramos, Mr. B's Music Addiction, Deb's Wood Burning Stove, CC Karaoke, Mama Rose Channel, Angela Tanzer, and Together We Are Family. And I really appreciate everybody in this community, all the artists, everything that you do. Pete, Johns, Thomas Christ, Jade, 15th Bend, everybody that I've mentioned earlier. My channel, and it's, you know what, I'm going to take that back. I found a family here, and I plan to manage it and maintain it, nourish it, love it the best I can, because this has become my livelihood. You know, I don't do anything else out there. I come home from work, I pick up my guitar, I'm writing a song, and maybe listening to Jade or whoever's on during that time. I've managed to actually work this into my life. I have my own life. I spend time with my wife and in the yard, but the winter time, I'm just so grateful for finding this community and through you guys.
Very cool.
What's
the maximum going to be, Frank? Like, when are you going to hit the most that you can possibly count? Because I worry about that with a community like this. It's growing, and where's the limit? Sorry, we're full.
I don't know. Well, you know what? Believe it or not, there used to be 100 just premieres, and I had to cut it down to just shouting out 60 of them, you know, and then leaving the rest in the playlist. That kind of helps, but we do the best we can, right?
I'm semi-joking because and people come and go, and something like it's great. It's almost like you have it's like we haven't had hockey references, but it's almost like a farm system. Like there's some people that can't be here all the time. They go down to the minors for a while, or they're out with an
send
injury
them down
like
to the
Jeff
AHL.
Yeah, that's right. They're in the AHL. They're on the bus.
That's right. You're not performing. You're benched.
I always say that I'm Jade Starr's reserve player, because when she has an interview cancel or something last minute thing, she's like, Pete, come on my show. So I like that. I'm coming off the bench, coach.
I love it. Yeah.
Well, if anyone was wondering what I was wiping, that was me spilling my water everywhere, just so you know. In case you thought it was odd that I was stroking my desk, I poured a glass of water on
my desk. Stroking my pianist.
Stroking my pianist.
I can't even say it anymore. I'm getting tired.
Oh man,
Pianists.
so we have another song before I divert us off somewhere else here. That was cool.
We do. Next song you have is "Can We Learn?"
Oh, apparently not.
It's just perfect.
Still trying.
That was written before
Before times,
things.
long ago.
Let's play it. And you want to talk about it before? Or
Give us a bit of an intro, Thomas. Let us.
This one is so. I mean, the whole kind of concept of the album. It's an allegory maybe for things in the world, but I try to keep it. It's also its own world, and so you had this massive takeover by the ruling. The people that were trying to take over the world, basically take over the world. They start this giant war, and then the only people that remain are trying to rebuild society, and they have to answer the question, can we learn, or are we just going to do the same shit over again?
I have an answer.
Yeah.
Cool.
let's do it.
See, dude can wield an axe. Don't call him a keyboard player. He can play.
Sorry.
Oh, we ended the show.
No.
I'm like, I was complimenting his guitar playing. You didn't have to end the show.
I'm not the only one who hits buttons by accident.
I actually forgot to hit the pause button. Yeah.
Very, very cool. Like that's, I mean,
Thank you.
yeah, it's so cool. Like that, yeah, the very Lennon-esque, the block chords there on the piano just sound perfect, and then the wah guitar solo over the top.
Yeah,
excellent
that one I
processing with
I
drums.
busted out my Boss ME70 for that one,
Oh, nice.
so I could use the wah on there. It's like,
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, very cool. So you went. Yeah, I was gonna ask about the wah. I'm like, is you just like auto wah on there, or was that that sounded like hand or foot made?
yeah.
Very
The,
cool.
like I was telling JJ Folkpunk in the chat, like that took all the guitar parts on the album, especially any of like solo or kind of
Yeah.
lead lines. My goodness, and some of it was artificial, especially like the acoustic guitar stuff. That's all ample sound and just the Flex plugin in FL Studio has some great guitar sounds in it. But yeah, the rest of it was a lot of takes because
Yeah.
I'm kind of at a basic level when it comes to guitar, so I know what I want to do, but making it actually happen is the tricky part.
So this is where our friends still using their Tascams and their Fostexes have my ultimate respect, because imagine having to re-cue the tape every time you flub a lick in a guitar solo and you're 3 minutes into the track and it's rewind, all right, reset and go again. But in the digital world where we have unlimited retries and we can go, no good, click, click. All right, let's do it again. No good, click, click. Let's do it again.
Even in the early digital world, like punching in was not an easy thing. Like you had to find the right point and set markers, and now you can just select the part and just go in and do it.
Having a screen, having a visual representation, like folks
Yeah.
these days, kids these days don't realize how hard it was when you were just working off of a counter on a tape machine and you had to just rewind and find that spot, and then punching in wasn't just, let's just set auto punch. It was, no, you had to physically say play tape and then start recording tape at this exact point and then stop it again if you wanted to punch something in. And now you're just like grab, drag, drop, done.
Yep.
Yeah.
I try to avoid doing too much, because I think for a while there I was like, okay, I'm just gonna record, like, okay, here's chorus, boom, done. We'll copy it, 3-4 times, whatever. Now I'm more about, I'll record each chorus separately.
Yeah.
Not because it may sound almost exactly the same, but I feel like there's something to having that, even just slight differences.
I think it is. I think it's the ride you get through a song of the levels of intensity. Like even if you sing, like you can tell, like the final chorus or even a middle chorus can sometimes just have that little slightly different edge. And it's great because if you want to use a double, you've got a whole bunch to choose from. So if you sing a chorus 4 times and you're like, okay, the final chorus, I want to be a big epic thing, just grab your first 3 choruses and layer them up as doubles and you're done. So,
they're low in the mix, you won't hear,
Yeah, a little bit of cheating, but you can tell when someone's actually gone through. And I also say when you first get into digital, you're like, this is amazing. Just do 8 bars and then copy and paste and build it up and drop it down again. And you can tell when people have done that and it doesn't sound great.
No.
Yeah,
Well-
exactly. Vocal doubles being slightly off. And that's the thing. You can play with different delays and reverbs and things on your doubles and stuff. Anyway, we're getting into the weeds now because we're talking nerdy mixing talk. But we'll hand it back to Frank, because you probably need to get us out of here at some stage, I suppose. Spoil everyone's fun.
That's right. And it's been a fantastic show. I do want to thank everybody in the chat. Hetriani Pukuyan, who's been here from the start. The Mix Club, Rhett, who's just stirring up a whole bunch of shit in here. And DJ Big Red for a change. Snooks, I really appreciate you. Mad respect. Thank you for all the support you give me. and everybody else in the chat, Hugh, Lori, Thomas. I really appreciate you coming on this show.
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, you've done a lot of good for my music and helping me promote, give me the confidence with your maybe you don't know your kind words and your encouragement, how that really pushes. It's pushed me and it kept me going. And it's almost like, all right, so my song comes out on a Tuesday. I can send it to Thomas Wednesday. Yeah. It's like it's more, I can't wait to get your reaction from it. And I'm sure I speak for many others.
That is awesome.
Yeah. And Pete Johns, I don't know. I'm going to keep saying number 83. If I can turn that time, the number. I gotta get a Leaf jersey. I don't know where I'm gonna post it, but my number has got to be 83.
83.
Yeah.
Well, I just had to mop up my water, and I did it with my 2014 Stanley Cup final. It's the last thing the Rangers did of any note since 1994. They have not made the final again. So yeah, that's
what are you talking about? Toronto Maple Leafs haven't made the final since 1967.
See, Thomas can sit there, and the Penguins. They've actually had a couple of dynasties, and they're like two of them in between.
And we feel we're like depressed though in Pittsburgh because of we haven't we haven't gotten past the first round since like 2017, and now we've got we're actually like at the point in the season where we're rooting for the team to lose so we get a better draft chance in the lottery or whatever. So it's a different position. I'm not used to that because ever since I've been watching the Penguins, they've just been winning, and it's like it's weird.
Yeah, it's Gary Hubbs.
Even Sidney Crosby, God bless him, but he's starting to lose. He's starting to age is starting to show a little bit.
See, you would go down the hockey path before we finished here.
That's right. We have to, and we have our rubber match coming up, Pete. I've got a picture of you in your Rangers jersey.
Yes.
And I'm looking for my picture. Well, I've got my Leaf jersey. I can quickly take one. I was going to do a little Feudal versus Johns rubber match. I think it's March 29th.
Yeah, it's coming up. I know. I looked at the schedule and I'm like, the Rangers need all the help they can get. Then that last wild card spot is going to be tough to get to. So I could be watching other teams in the playoffs this year as well. So
we lost 3 in a row, so we could be there too. That division is so tight.
It's
but
crazy.
you still got your Golden Knights. They're doing pretty well, aren't they?
Yeah. I've got my backup team, the Golden Knights. So I have a West Coast and an East Coast team. So I started supporting Vegas since they came in. And same thing, Thomas. I'm just like, they haven't won a championship in like a good 5 years now. Like, what's going on? We need another one.
Yeah, it's crazy. Nice. All right. Thanks again. Any last words there, Thomas and Pete?
I just wanted to say thanks, Frank, for having me back on 2 weeks in a row. But I'll let others. I just wanted to actually say that you have the most supportive crew. When I come onto this show, and there's the Brady bunch of people helping set up, folks don't realize exactly how much work goes into it. And Frank does a lot of it, but he has his helpers. He has JJ and DJ and the whole crew. And they do so, and Het and Laurie, and I'm not going to mention someone and forget and make someone feel bad now. But everyone, all the moderators and all of the folks that help with this show. And I, as someone who thought about doing this show, started planning out the first one like way back when. I'm like, I should do a community show. And then got scared off because I thought this is going to just be huge and massive. There's no way to do it. Kudos to you, Frank, and to everyone here. And to my old mate, Thomas Christ. It's been a long time since I thought you were Thomas Gillane for the first couple of weeks. And then I realized because there were 2 Thomases that joined the community around about the same time. And I'm like,
we have a lot of Toms and a lot of Thomases.
We did. So I'm like, are you from like Europe? And you're like, Pittsburgh, actually, Pete. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So no, it's been cool and getting the chance to work with Tom and to be inspired. And I think you said it best, Frank, that yeah, it's not a competitive, but it's like an inspiration thing. You see what other people do, and you want to rise up your level to what you're seeing other people do. So it really is cool to be part of a community where, yeah, it's not anyone versus anyone. It's just, hey, look how cool everyone's doing. I want to be cool, and I want to do better music as well, and it inspires me to do my best work and my best music every day as well. So there you go. For someone who had nothing less to say, I had a lot left to say. So I'll shut up now and let Thomas have the final word before
Thank
we
you,
finish.
Pete.
Very well. Well, thank you so much, Frank, for having me on here. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And thank you, Pete. I couldn't think of a better person if, there wouldn't have been anybody else I would have called on first. So thank you, Pete. And thanks to, again, the mods, everybody, DJ and Folk Punk and Snooks and Lori and everybody, been awesome job there. And I know how important mods are. It's an important thing to have good ones, and you got some great ones here. And certainly, I just want to make sure everybody knows. We got You Rock. It's been mentioned before, but happy to play your music on the show. You can send a track in at bit.ly/YouRock submit, or just go to thomaschrist.net, and there'll be a link at the top where you can go and send your song in. Be happy to have you on the show. If you've never been on, I know we got a lot coming up. We got a lot on the show for this week. You may need to be a little patient, but I'll try. I do the best I can to get everybody on. And then Saturday night we have our whole thing that we do. Pete's part of it. Jade Star is part of it. Brad Example, for right now while he's in Australia, is doing shows as well. Man, I hope you will tune in, because I think it's like Frank said, it's a fantastic night. Everybody brings their best to the party, and you won't be disappointed if you check it out. So I think I'm gonna kind of leave it at that. Much love to everybody that came here today. Beautiful having y'all here, and appreciate it so much.
All right. Much love and respect, everybody. We're going to close out with Liza Day and a song she is so graciously allows us to play and make it our staple song for our closing of the show. It's a beautiful track. Follow the link. Enjoy. Good night. God bless. Take care, everybody.
We are. Sister, brother, father, mother, we are one and the same. We are. Friends, chosen, hearts, shared, a force of nature. We are family, forever like a diamond, special treasure. We shine. Family. Are we not part of one another? Our love is gold. Family. We are. Family. We are. Family. We are. Family. We are. Family. Your life could get in the way sometimes, but no matter whatever, ever hot the cards, we'll weather it together wherever we are in the world. We are. Our home is where the heart is.